The next question has more to do with the state of Florida, and we're going to start with, who did we start with last time? We started with the Thomas time. Let's start with Tim this time. Mr. Curtis, what is your position, I'm sorry, should we drill for oil off the coast of Florida?
The answer to that question is jobs, jobs, jobs. Absolutely. Because the question isn't really whether or not there's going to be drilling off the coast of Florida. Folks, if anyone tries to sell you that, please refuse, because there's going to be drilling. Currently, Cuba has contracted with China 90 miles off the shores of Florida. There's going to be drilling. And then I would ask very simply, who does it better than us? We're bigger, better, faster, smarter. Do we make mistakes? Yeah, we do. But we're also the very, very best at fixing our mistakes, cleaning up the errors. And those are our natural resources. Now, the answer to the question about should we drill? Absolutely. And let's start exploring yesterday. Let's get the exploration done, find out where it's going to make the most sense to drill. But in the meantime, we have to incentivize those corporations who are going to do the exploration so that along with harvesting what are our natural resources, the oil and the natural gas, they will also have good reason to continue development on new energy sources, renewable energy sources. I don't think there's anyone in here who would disagree with the idea that solar energy would be a good thing. If we can develop solar energy and deliver it to a grid where it makes sense and it doesn't put somebody under when they have to pay their power bill, I think everyone would agree that that's a good thing. Fuel cells, there are great technologies that are being developed, but they're not there yet. So the answer is, do we drill? We drill, and we drill now. And in the meantime, we continue development, aggressive development, research and development on those other fuel sources that will lead us into the next century. But for the meantime, we have to have a bridge to that point. I'm always amazed that the very people, again, getting back to the labels, the conservatives, you'd think that conservatives were conservationists, and they're found primarily in my party. But oh no, that's not the case. We are the best conservationists, and it makes most sense for us to protect our natural resources. I was in a forum earlier today where they were talking about the fact that we depend so very heavily on tourism. We don't want to mess that up. And so we're going to use the best, safest technology to harvest our resources and also protect our environment.
Mr. Adams, you want to repeat the question?
Yes.
Should we drill for oil off the coast of Florida?
The answer to that question is most assuredly we need to, should drill, should have been drilling off the coast of Florida. Florida is the only state on the Gulf of Mexico currently not using oil, which is a natural resource, to benefit the citizens of the state of Florida. Texas, Louisiana, New Orleans, the main ports of interest, Alabama, which only has a finger on the Gulf, they have platforms and rigs there. But the main thing, Florida has the largest coastline of any state in the country. The largest, longest coast. We got 2 coastlines. And we have to take advantage of the resources on both coastlines. If we can put a refinery in the port of Manatee, I mean, you don't have to have ships or barges or anything come inside the port, endanger the Gulf. You create thousands of jobs for a 100-mile radius. People will go to high-tech jobs, and all the subsidiary, secondary jobs created by having an oil refinery in the state of Florida. We become the top of the food chain. The big dollars come here, and it goes everywhere else. It gives us new jobs that do not exist in the state of Florida. It's a $30 billion industry, and we're not taking advantage of it. And 45 miles off the coast of Florida south, Cuba already has people drilling for it. And if you look at a map of the Gulf of Mexico, there's over 900 oil rigs and platforms already out there. And because of our location, you can put drill for oil 45 miles off the coast, and send a pipeline to the port of Manatee. You never have to come above water. You would never see it, never see end of process. On the other coast, we have the Florida Gulf Stream. The energy of the future, we got to have some way to make us less dependent upon people who hate us and people who want to kill us, and who only came into the power in the last 40 to 100 years because of oil. Before that, their greatest natural resource was sand. That being said, once we find a way to not be dependent upon those people by either capping and using our oil as a strategic oil reserve and have it for future generations, but also use and develop ocean current conversion to generate electricity, which is hydroelectric fuel. And it never goes away. It's 24/7, 365 days a year. You don't have to worry about the sun setting. You don't have to worry about it being cloudy because the earth always produces that current. You stick a module in the current. It's just like the Hoover Dam. It's hydroelectric energy. It's 1,000 times the potential of any dam that's ever been created. Again, that's looking to the future. So we got the bridge of current usage, and we got the bridge to the future. Florida can power the entire eastern seaboard for the next 200 years.
Would you like to bring some questions? I'll be happy to, thank you. Should we drill off the coast of Florida?
Yes, we should. We've got to do something to reduce our dependence on foreign oil. Drilling and tapping the resources within the continental U.S. it just makes sense. To ignore those resources doesn't make sense. We tap those resources, and that creates jobs for Americans. It doesn't generate money for the overseas countries that hate us, like Eddie said. I've been to those countries, some of them, and they're typically not very friendly. But we just don't need to continue to send all of our capital overseas to these countries that hate us. We need to tap the resources that we have. Drilling offshore doesn't just tap oil, it also produces other activities. I'm a scuba diver. I enjoy scuba diving off of the rigs off of Louisiana. It's great spearfishing. It's great fishing around the oil rigs. So there's other great things about the rigs and drilling the coast. But we can do it. Just like Tim said, nobody does it better than us. We have the technology, we can do it, and we can protect our beaches. Short answer, yes. Thank you.
That's fine, John. I have a question. Should we drill for oil off the coast of Florida?
Currently, as we're speaking right now, Cuba has made deals with Russia and China to drill off their coast. So they're going to be 50 miles off the coast of Florida already. We have the Vietnamese drilling in the Gulf. We have the Mexicans drilling in the Gulf also. So yes, we should be drilling for oil. But basically, the United States uses 21 million barrels of oil a day, which is 7.6 billion barrels of oil a year. The best guesstimate that they have from some of the research they've done for the oil in the Gulf is off the coast of Florida is about 45 billion barrels of oil. So what that means is we have about 5.6 years of oil. If we start today, it takes 5 years before we even get a drop of oil out of the ground. But there is abundance of natural gas that would last us 100 years or so. So we should be tapping into that resource and converting some of our cars to natural gas rather than using the oil that we have right now. Problem with oil current technology is that the current moves too fast, and you'd have to slow that current down to use that kind of technology. And what happens when you fool around with Mother Nature? You never know what's going to get. There's also marine life that you got to worry about. There's maintenance that you're going to have to worry about. And ocean technology is probably really a good thing in the future, but it's 15 years out at least. So we need stuff to do. We need answers now, and not 5 years from now. So we need to start using what we have on hand, and we have an abundance of natural gas. So we need to start looking into that as part of the problem, or solution as part of the problem that we have, and stop this oil. And one of the biggest concerns that we have is, you know, what the roadways are gonna look like. So I called some people in Texas and they said, look, we use them as tourist destinations. You know, the tourists go out there, they use them for fishing and they use it like that. And so people are worried about Florida and our tourism. We pay the National Endowments of the Arts about $50 million a year to promote political agendas and make political propaganda. Why don't we give them a real job? Why don't we let them decorate those boulders?